Hey guys and girls of YouTube land, it's just me, Jamie. This is just a quick update. It is February 3rd, 2019. So, current weight's 235.4 as of this morning. I didn't lose anything because I started trying to breastfeed again. I was going to stop that, but we found out Monday, it was actually Friday not this last week, but the week before last, that my daughter tested positive on the, oh, let me go back. About earlier that week. So Monday, the previous week, earlier on, and towards the end of January, we found out that my daughter had a thyroid problem based off of her newborn heel prick test. The baby was born at a low birth weight, even though she was 38 weeks, 6 days gestation. She wasn't premature. There were no complications during the pregnancy, no complications during the birth. She was just low birth weight. It could be because of gastric sleeve. It could be for other reasons. There's no telling. So I did everything I was supposed to do. I even ate extra fat just to make sure that she got a little extra bulk, and it just didn't make a difference. So anyway, so she came back as having a thyroid problem. The doctor said, no problem. That could just be because she was a low birth weight. That's typical. As a matter of fact, me and my brother and sister all tested as having thyroid problems, and we don't have thyroid problems. So, that being said, and that's something I get tested for every year. That being said, we went and did another heel prick test, but this time they did vials of blood on her little tiny feet, which was horrible to listen to her cry. She was pretty good about it. And then we found out just a few days later, not even 2 or 3 days later, that she tested positive on that same original test for cystic fibrosis, because apparently it takes an extra week to get the results, which I knew there was something wrong. I had mentioned it to the doctor because she was eating like 6 ounces at a time. And don't get me wrong, my family likes to eat. We do like our food, but that's not normal for a newborn, and I know that. I've had kids before, so it's just, I was worried. So I mentioned it to the doctor. The doctor said, no, it's fine. And then, of course, a few days later, she's like, yeah, there's a problem. So one of the side effects of cystic fibrosis, one of the symptoms of that is that babies have a huge appetite and they're not gaining any weight. She was gaining weight, but it wasn't very much weight, even though I was supplementing extra formula in her bottles, giving her breast milk. I was just feeding on demand. I didn't have her on a schedule or anything. And I was making sure she was eating. But it just seemed like she had nothing but loose, heavy bowel movements. She was having frequent blowouts in her diapers. Sorry, guys, for TMI, but this is coming up to explain why I made this video today. So we went in to have a sweat test done, which is they just wrap her little arms up. They put this little piece of plastic with a coil on it, like a little pipette, but it's flexible. They put a coil on, it's got dye in it. Once the sweat touches it, it turns a color. And if they get a certain amount of sweat, they'll test the salinity of the sweat to see how much salt is in her sweat. Sorry, I have a rash on my chin. Anyway, so she tested well over the amount that they test for, which I think is like 45. She was well above that. I think it was in the 70s. But she, we originally we were told we didn't get enough sweat and that they were going to have to redo the test. I came home, took a nap, and I was out for like 2 hours. And I woke up to my husband crying, telling me, hey, the doctor just called and said that she has cystic fibrosis. Which just, to me, was a real shock because, I mean, we got told they didn't have enough sweat. So, for me, I don't process things the way everybody else does. I didn't cry at first. I was just, you know, like, okay, I don't even know what that means right now. All I know is, can you put the TV off? All that means to me is that, you know, I know that I have people that I've watched and followed on YouTube that have passed away from cystic fibrosis, and it's really hard to know that that's a possibility with her, but we just have to keep her well. So there's, you know, if you don't know anything about cystic fibrosis, there's not a cure. We have to keep her from getting lung infections, because one lung infection can kill her. It could land her in the hospital for several weeks, several months. It could make her really miserable, and as a newborn, nobody deserves that, period, but no baby especially, just getting here into the world, deserves that. So it's been a really stressful week. This was shortly after I made my video and all of this stuff started, my coming back video, and you're welcome to go back and watch that too. It's where I show you guys the baby. She's asleep in her crib right now. Her dad's in the living room near her, so he can hear her. But it's been really stressful. We've been sleeping with her in our bedroom because her room's been really cold, and we've got this stupid polar vortex going on, and she has gained weight. She's 7 pounds, 12 ounces. She was 7 pounds, 15 ounces the other night when we made an emergency room trip as a precaution. I have just been not eating properly. I had every intention. I'll start the day out eating keto and doing well and have a plan, and then something will happen and we have to go to the doctor and I won't eat, or I will come home and gorge, and I'll have a good plan when I get home, but I've waited so long that I just end up overdoing it. So I started over again in the last few days. When we went to the emergency room 2 days ago, I hadn't eaten anything in several hours. I was at my calorie goal, and I'd stayed under all of my macros, but I was starving and I was stressed. They offered me food. I'm like, yeah, sure, I could definitely use something. I'm a gastric sleeve patient. So they gave me a turkey sandwich, which it could have been worse. It was 2 pieces of white bread, like 4 slices of whatever kind of turkey meat they use. Wasn't great. And a little bit of mayo and mustard, like a packet of mayo and mustard like they give you at the hospital. I ate that. Had about 5 or 6 crackers, like saltine crackers, throughout the night. But we did go to Whataburger for my daughter. I didn't get anything, went home, went to sleep, and I got up and had my normal eggs and stuff like that. And I stuck to my diet pretty well yesterday, except for in the evening, I had like a cup of the Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal, just dry. I was doing homework and I was trying to stay awake. So I'm running on very little sleep right now, guys. So that's where I'm at. So I came home, I got up this morning. I didn't have time to make eggs because we had an appointment we had to go to, so I made my keto coffee. For lunch, I had, although I made bulletproof coffee, but I did it with a Premier protein shake. I can't find caramel for the life of me anywhere. If you guys know what's going on with that, let me know, because it's driving me crazy. But all I can find are chocolate and vanilla, so I tried the chocolate. It wasn't horrible. I just added some salted caramel, sugar-free Torani syrup in it, and it was fine. A little bit of heavy cream, a little bit of MCT oil. I was good. And then for breakfast, or for lunch, we got done with our meeting. We were both really hungry, so we went to Taco Cabana. I got the State Street tacos, came home, took them out of the tortillas, threw the tortillas away, gave them to my husband. I don't really care what he did with them. And then I made like a little taco salad bowl. I had some Parmesan chips that I make that you guys can go back and watch the video on how I make those. I don't make them any different than I did a year ago. It's actually probably, I might have made it about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. Anyway, I had like 5 or 6 of those left, crunched them up, mixed them in with the steak and the cilantro and the onions, and then I put in 2 little tiny Taco Cabana sized cups of pico. It's probably like 2 tablespoons of pico, and then about a tablespoon of sour cream and about a tablespoon of guacamole, and mixed all that together, and I ate like almost all but maybe a third of it. And then I was going to have our sausage dip that we make, which is a pound of ground maple sausage from Jimmy Dean, a pack of cream cheese and Rotel, a can of Rotel. Mix that all together. After the sausage and the Rotel is cooked, you drain it and mix in the cream cheese until it's creamy. There's no chunks, and then you can just dip it. I usually use my Parmesan chips, but it was going to put me over my calories, so I haven't figured dinner out yet. What I did do was I did 2 things today. For a snack, I made a fruit salad, which you guys know me, I don't usually do fruit, but I've just been craving it. I wanted something sweet, and I didn't want to go with chocolate. I'm kind of chocolated out, especially because I'm having to do the chocolate Premier protein shakes. I took 5 or 6 of the little chunks of the pre-cut fresh pineapple. I did 5 sliced up fresh strawberries and about a half a cup of fresh blueberries. Mix all that with 2 tablespoons, heaping tablespoons of sugar-free whipped cream. And then I just did like a handful of shredded unsweetened coconut and about, I guess, a 1/4 cup of mixed up pecans and almond slivers. And then I just mixed all that together and I ate that, and it filled me up, and I'm still pretty full from that, so I'm not eating anything anytime soon. But I was thinking ahead. For any of you who've watched before, I may or may not have told you I hated eggs when I first started this journey. And during my pregnancy, they made me eat eggs for my gestational diabetes test. So I was horrified that they were going to ask me to eat that. I was like, ugh, I can't do eggs. Please, is there something else I can do? They said, no, that's the best way to pass your test. Go ahead and have eggs. So I kind of trained myself to eat eggs where I liked them. And I found a way that I make them that I can eat them and they don't make me feel sick to my stomach. And they don't taste bad. It's more of a texture thing, I think, for me. So I have been eating eggs. And so this recipe that I found on Pinterest, I tried. They're supposed to be sausage egg breakfast bites. I made them into little biscuits because I doubled the recipe and made bigger portion scoops to bake them with. So what you do is you take 6 eggs, scramble them up, mix in a teaspoon of baking powder, and then you put in a 2/3 cup of coconut flour. I used organic from Arrowhead Mills. You can use whatever brand you like. This should make a difference. Mix all that together and mix in 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. Let that sit. The coconut flour needs at least 5 minutes to set up, and you also don't want to mix anything hot in there because it will cook the eggs. So let that sit in the fridge so that everything's nice and chilled out so it doesn't get too overcooked if you put the sausage that you're going to put in a little bit into the bowl. So set that aside in the fridge. You're going to then cook a pound of the Jimmy Dean maple sausage. It's the ground maple sausage. You're going to drain it. And then you're going to mix in a package of whatever brand of cream cheese you like. I used full fat. Mix all that together. I put it in my Ninja and blended it up so that I knew that there was no chunks in there of the cream cheese. It said to let it cool. I put in cold cream cheese, so the cream cheese was melted, but it was still kind of like room temperature, so it wouldn't cook the eggs. And the eggs were chilled enough that I wasn't worried about them cooking. So I went ahead and mixed them in at this point. It had been the 5 minutes, and I made these little biscuits, and I will show you what they look like. I'm going to walk out. It's going to be loud because my husband is slightly deaf, so hold on 1 second. Okay, guys, so I'm in the kitchen. These are what came out. I have some more in the oven I'm going to check on in just a second, but they're nice size. Each one comes out to 171 calories. I think it's like 14 grams of fat. It's not a whole lot of protein. I don't know why it didn't come out to as much protein, but it makes 20 biscuits. But it's 2 of them and they'll make a good breakfast. So if you're going for the high fat and the moderate protein, like the normal keto, that'd be great. I might even go as far as putting a little bit of extra protein, like unflavored protein powder in there next time, just to add a little, but it's going to add carb. So it's kind of a wash. I might experiment, instead of using cream cheese next time, try using cottage cheese and just putting less of it in there and a little bit more coconut flour, because the coconut flour does have protein in it and it is fewer carbs. So I'll try it and see how it turns out, and I'll let you guys know. But I tasted it. It tastes okay. I plan on freezing these and then just popping them in the microwave for a minute for breakfast. And I will see how that works out. But that's part of my plan for breakfast, besides just regular scrambled eggs, because I'm kind of getting sick and tired of that, even though I really like them now for some crazy reason. I don't want to burn myself out on them where I won't eat them anymore. But that is it for now, guys. I will update you more on my daughter when I find out more, but I'm just trying to stay on track right now with all of the stress going on. Thanks again. Y'all have a good day.